This is something that I've heard before, and I'm just going to repeat it,
Mhm.
that your voice is your soul's signature in
Mhm.
this density. Your voice literally is a representation of who you are. And our bodies recognize our voice. Our bodies love the sound of our voice. Our bodies, the frequencies, the resonance of our voice. It's a connection, I believe, to the aspect of our souls, our higher
Mm.
selves.
Level up your frequency.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 9 of the Level Up Your Frequency podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Sun. And just as a quick recap, this season will be all about voice and how to utilize and understand the power of your own vibration, or as I like to call it, your sound print, to level up your frequency for better health, wealth, and relationships. Today's podcast is brought to you by BizMind Academy. BizMind Academy is an online training platform which is designed to empower startup entrepreneurs by helping them learn skills and tactics that can quickly be implemented into daily business processes to produce noticeable and measurable results. So if you're a startup entrepreneur really looking to take your business to the next level, but not so sure on how to do so, you can check out BizMind Academy to learn anything from how to effectively launch your business, to creating a solid business plan, and even how to manage your time to help your business grow. You can learn about what I just mentioned, plus so much more to really take your business to the next level by visiting www.bizmind.academy. That's www.biz as in zebra, mind.academy. That's www.bizmind.academy. In today's episode, I will be joining forces with special guest Ruth Ratliff to discuss how to connect with your voice in order to tap into your inner wisdom for healing and sacred connection. Ruth Ratliff is a voice and vibrational sound therapist, author, and speaker. Her work centers on the belief that voice and vibration are instruments of healing, empowerment, and connection. She uses a holistic approach, combining science and spirituality to help her clients access a conscious transformation to lead a healthy, fully expressed life. Ruth Ratliff is a licensed certified vibrational sound therapist and holds certifications in vocal sound healing, Shodan Reiki, and integrative energy therapy. Ruth has been a performer, a voice coach, and workshop leader for many years. Ruth's book, The Voice of Women's Wisdom, can be found on Amazon. Welcome, Ruth. Thank you so much for joining me here today. How are you?
Thank you, Crystal. It's my pleasure. I am great. Thank you.
Amazing. So I just did a quick intro on you and your work, and I am so excited to dive deep into this conversation today because I know you're an expert in your line of work. But before we get started, could you please share just a little bit about your story, your passion, and why you do what you do?
Sure. I've been a singer, a performer for many, many years. And most recently, actually, over the past 20 years, I was a voice teacher. I just actually stopped that this past summer to continue with more sound therapy work. And the reason I got into it, I think I've been sort of preparing to be a sound therapist actually most of my life, really.
Mhm.
As I was a young person and my relationship with music and sound, I believe absolutely helped me move through some personal tragedy in my life. I lost my family before the age of 30. I grew up in an alcoholic family dynamic. So there was a lot of healing that needed to be done, obviously, as we all have our stories about
Right.
that and our traumas.
Mhm.
But I just feel very strongly that my relationship with music and getting to know my voice, subsequently sharing it with other people, really was able to have me process in a healthy way a lot of that trauma energy And it just felt like a natural progression for me. I've always been fascinated in the science behind sound. As a voice teacher too, I noticed the difference in my students from taking voice lessons, how they would step out more, they would take more risks, they would be more poised, more confident, more empowered. Also myself as well. I was a shy kid, a shy little, I'm sorry, always saying I'm sorry, to doing what I'm doing now. So I feel like that the voice work helped me tremendously to move through that, and to move up to where I am now, to transform me. And it's been beautiful. So the sound therapy, I feel, is like an extension of my voice. Literally, the bowls, they're all packed up. I had an event last night.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, I feel like they're an extension of me, of my voice. So
That's beautiful.
felt like a natural progression.
That's beautiful. I mean, we all have our story and why we do what we do, why we're passionate about why we do what we do here on the planet as a light worker, as a sound healer. It's a great and beautiful responsibility to have, but it doesn't come easy. It has its ups and downs, and that's just how life is, right? And it wouldn't be fun without a little bit of a roller coaster ride.
No, no, absolutely. And not only that, but I feel that the pain that we go through shapes us, molds us. It breaks us, but it breaks us open, and it expands our souls.
No, I
And
love that.
I believe that the deaths of my family members absolutely did that to me. Yes.
Wow.
It was a blessing in disguise, so to speak.
Wow. That's so true. It's almost like it breaks you open, which allows more light in. It's such a beautiful way to look at it.
Yes. But it doesn't come, as you say, without great pain.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
and people are afraid of being in pain. I understand that. But I think part of the work that we're going to talk about, with the voice is helping people to not push that away and be afraid of it, is to allow it. Won't break you, it won't kill you, to allow it to open you up. And I'm not saying that my course is all about pain and all that, but it's just that is a part of it, is being, maybe not making friends with it, but being, certainly don't be afraid of it, and certainly accept it and let it, yeah, to
Just kind of let it shine through. And that was going to be something that I really wanted to talk about with you. I wanted to talk a little bit about why and how, the voice can be used as a tool to unlock your highest potential, because I know this is something that you work with your clients on. How do you feel when it comes to voice and that connecting with your highest potential?
This is something that I've heard before, and I'm just going to repeat it, that your voice is your soul's signature in this density. Your voice literally is a representation of who you are. And our bodies recognize our voice. Our bodies love the sound of our voice. Our bodies, the frequencies, the resonance of our voice, it's a connection, I believe, to the aspect of our souls, our higher selves. And we're this very compressed, dense energy, like a vibration. You know how they say everything's vibration. It's just like a table is, it's all vibrating. It's just vibrating at different rates. Okay, so we're very dense, and the frequency and the resonances of our voice is a much higher vibration. So it can lighten us up, as it were. It can literally raise our vibration so that we can have that connection, with the crown chakra, to open up the higher chakras, to be able to connect up. And a piece of that for me is it's illustrated in sound therapy because I hear all the time. I just heard it last night. I heard it twice this week at two events I did, where people will say they said, I was visited by somebody who had passed, a family member. One girl, her grandmother visited her, another one, her brother. She was flying in the clouds with her brother. And I said, that's because you are literally raising your vibration so that, because their vibe is so high, because they don't, not in this physical density, that they can, we're diving right into it, Crystal.
I love it. Interdimensional. Let's go.
So that they can come, you're meeting them halfway, hopefully halfway, or at least a little bit, making it a little bit easier for them to be with you, to meet you there. And I feel like that, that's what our voice does. It acts as that bridge to anchor us, not only in the physical, but also to be able to raise that vibration enough to lighten our load, as it were, that we can actually access that higher self.
I love how you say that, because I believe we have a sound print, right? So everything, every organ, tissue in our body is vibrating at a specific set frequency. And that's what makes us all very different, right? So my frequency is not going to be the same as your frequency, but the easiest way for us to tap into our frequency is through the power of our own vibration or voice. So I love how you talked about the voice and how that can be a gateway to connecting, with loved ones who have passed, with connecting to your highest potential, with connecting with, your life purpose and your passion here on the planet. And we had this conversation before, Ruth, about missing frequencies in the voice as well. And that connecting, with your energy centers within the body, and it can show where your blockages are. So when you have missing frequencies in your voice, you're not able to truly express yourself and live out, a life of being at your highest potential and living out the life that you were sent here to live. Because I really do believe we all have a soul contract that we were sent here with from the time of birth, and we're here to fulfill. And sometimes we're not able to really see that or piece that together. And then guess what? When we leave, we got to come right back and do it all over again.
I hope not.
I know. I don't
want
to come back.
Go around. Yeah. I'm going to manifest that.
There we go. We'll manifest that through voice.
Yeah, definitely. And I had a really interesting experience with that, with the physical aspect that you're alluding to through the study of human bioacoustics, through the work of Shari Edwards. And I had, you talk about the missing frequencies in your voice. Well, that's what she studies. Human bioacoustics is where they do an actual voice print analysis of your voice. You speak into a microphone, it's connected to a computer, spits out a graph. And those the graph has highs and lows, which are have what they call frequency-based biomarkers, and that shows where you're out of alignment, you're out of the frequencies of the body. And what was fascinating to me was that I had just had blood work maybe a few months before that, and my voice print almost matched my blood work to a T.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's like mind-blowing.
You can't make that up.
No, you can't make that up, and you can't hardly wrap your head around it. But your voice, it's you. That's what people don't get. That you can hear somebody's voice, and can't you tell immediately you're getting a feeling?
Absolutely,
right?
Yes.
You can hear in the tone of your voice. It's not how you say it, or what. Excuse me. It's not what you're saying. It's how you say it.
The intention.
The intention,
right.
The tone, what's underneath that, the underlying emotion. If there's any resentment or anger or upset,
right.
You can always hear that in a person's voice. Even if you don't recognize it, the specifics of it, you always get that.
You can
that
feel
energy.
it. Yes.
Yeah. And and that thing about, I'm not sure that we all have one specific frequency that works for us. I mean, I don't know. I know that I don't know about that. But I feel like we are such complicated, interdimensional light beings in a physical body. I feel like it's almost like, doesn't it feel like we change every day?
Absolutely.
You
Who
know,
we
we,
are
we're
today is not who we're going to be maybe 2 hours from now or the next day. It's all different. And
yeah.
that's part of our evolution and our growth here on the planet. So I do feel like our frequencies are constantly shifting as we start to, as our consciousness starts to unfold, and our frequency starts to rise with that consciousness. So at some point we vibrate so high. I do believe there are people on this planet that vibrate so high that they can no longer connect with the planet. And sometimes those people were here just to hold the frequency, of Gaia, of planet Earth, and then they pass on because they're kind of done with what they were sent here to do. All of this is really physics, it's science, it's not some woo-woo stuff. And that's what most people think when they think about frequency, vibration, when they think about the voice and how the voice works to help to raise and level up your frequency. All of this has been tested, has been proven, it's real. And the thing that I feel like what will really help people is just pick up your cell phone. Your cell phone is constantly emitting Wi-Fi signals,
Right.
and you can't see it. Just like you can't see your own vibration, but we question that and we think it's strange and it's not real.
Absolutely. No, there's so much that affects us on the unseen level that we're not even aware of. What about just sound in the higher frequencies that we can't even hear, that animals can hear?
Right.
It just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't real. And it's all, a lot of it is being uncovered now through the study of quantum physics.
Right.
I mean, even the quantum physicists are confused, about because all the old science does not apply.
Exactly.
That's what they're finding out. And I really feel that sound therapy, this work with the voice and vibration and sound, is really what they call a transitional science at this point.
Mm,
We don't have the
yes.
basis, the knowledge yet, the knowledge base to really understand this and quantify it. Why do we have to quantify everything? I guess
What?
it's human
Yeah. It's
nature.
like, why do we have to put everything into
Right,
words?
right.
Everything is just a vibration and a feeling. You'll feel it. You'll know that it's working. Why
Yes.
do we need to explain everything in this scientific detail? People need this to believe. People have no problem believing in a higher power without seeing that higher power there. But for some reason, I notice a lot of people have issues believing in themselves, believing that they hold this power within. And that's the whole point of us connecting with our voice, is realizing that our vibration is our power, is our highest potential. We just need that key to really unlock that highest potential. So it really is having that frequency awareness and being frequency conscious every moment of your day, because frequency vibration, that's all that there is around us. The chair that we're sitting on, my microphone's vibrating, being held together right now, our bodies are everything. So it's pretty mind-blowing, right, to think about that. And when you start to think about it, it's almost like your brain breaks because it doesn't know how to make sense of it.
No, it doesn't at this point. That's beautifully said, by the way. Yes. It's always interesting to me, and that's what the voice can do. That the voice can kind of, it's like when you're talking about the key unlocking. I feel like the harmonics and the frequencies of our voices are like little keys that can unlock or break up a lot of the unhealthy archetypal patterns
Mm,
that we have, well, probably had, the ancestral patterns, certainly, that we've had for thousands of years, that are not serving us. Like, what about our beliefs, our false beliefs in ourselves that are holding us back, as you were saying? And, there's like, we're beings of vibration, and I think we're also made, there's crystal, where there's crystal in, we are crystalline beings, and it's like that sound can break certainly reform or reorganize, restructure that crystalline matrix that we are, that is part of our physicality, but it's also part of our etheric bodies as well. And I feel like that can also help to we could break open again a lot of those patterns that we've been holding. Whether a lot of them are, a lot of those patterns, I believe, are subconscious and
Oh,
are right.
yes.
They're ancestral patterns and patterns that have been, I think, put on us possibly from other densities, other dimensions.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know.
absolutely. There's a
Yeah.
lot that we're dealing with on a daily
Yeah.
basis that
Yes.
we're not even conscious of. It's like sometimes emotions will come up. It's like, where did this come from? And you can't really pinpoint it. But like you said, we are multidimensional beings. So we're being heavily influenced by a factor of many different, you know, just different emotions that are coming in from, we don't know where they're coming in from. But but we can find power in that, meaning once we sense the emotion, we know it's there. So meaning we're being a lot more aware or conscious of our emotions. And once we can sense these emotions and know that they are there, we know that we have the tools within us to break up that heavy emotion, which is what sound healing does, or what our voice can do for the body. Like I really love to use humming, and humming helps to really break up any heavier density or emotion in the body. And you can actually use this to break up, reset, and almost like revive your body, which really helps to level up your frequency so that you can be in a state of vibrating high and attract the things into your life that you really would like to attract, like better health, relationships, wealth. The list goes on, whatever you find important to you.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's really important for us to find, our unique frequency or sound print through different vocal practices. And I was hoping that you could share, some of the stuff that you teach to help with finding your unique sound print.
Sure. So what to speak to what you're saying about humming, also from a physical standpoint, when you hum, it releases nitric oxide, which is a very important molecule in our body, and it's also makes you high. So humming is wonderful, and just making organic sound. So that's kind of like my program. What I help people with in Crystalline Voice is using the power of sound therapy, getting people into that more receptive state through sound therapy with the bowls, the crystal bowls and the metal bowls, and I basically give them a sound bath, short sound bath, and then I'll work with them with a couple different modalities that I've pulled from my experience as a voice teacher and also as a sound therapist, using organic sound. I feel like that's so important. Using organic sound through the language of the body. It's using somatic movement combined with sounding, EFT tapping, and I combine everything with the sound. It kind of works. You do the EFT tapping
I
with the
love EFT. Yeah.
affirmations, yep, and then making little sounds, connecting to the different parts of your body, asking your different parts of your body. Listening, conscious listening is so underrated. Listening to your body and asking it, what would you like to tell me?
Mm.
And then and just facilitating and holding space and witnessing my client's journey through that is quite profound. We also do affirmations, as I said before, and journaling with a beautiful book called Prayers of Honoring Voice, which you may be interested in reading. It's absolutely wonderful. It's by Pixie Lighthorse.
Okay.
You know how some people just their words just seem to always go right here to your heart, and it seems
Yes.
no matter they seem very applicable at the time. You need to hear them, right? So I work through that with people, and it's a very intimate practice. It's a very intimate program because it's done one-on-one via Zoom, and it's amazing what you can create, that that space, that private space via Zoom, can't you? Don't you notice how we can do that? That's
Yeah.
vibration. See, it's non-local, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's non-local. There's no distance. Like you and I, we are together right
Exactly.
now, vibrationally. So I feel like that's very my energy in supporting my clients to just be more aware of their body. I feel like our bodies tell us our bodies are here, we're in body, and our bodies are here to tell us things that we don't know how to listen to. So I'm basically giving people an opportunity to develop conscious listening because that's part of using your voice too, is listening to your own self-talk, listening to others speak, hearing what's underneath the words, right? What's underlying. So I feel like those are all very valuable tools that people can have that will expand their awareness, not only of their body, of their psyche, their consciousness, but also their world, their other people as well, which will help them to connect more deeply with themselves and other people.
That's
Ultimately,
beautiful. That's beautiful. I feel like we all need that. We all need to take a second to really like just slow down and be a little bit more observant rather than allowing our thoughts to just rule us every second of the day in our subconscious. But once we have more awareness of this, we start to fall into stillness, and that stillness speaks volumes. And when we can really tap into that, our truth starts to shine through our own voice, I feel.
yes.
And as we speak, we can connect with people on a whole new level because there's a different type of connection there and understanding. Since we are all vibration, we all connect at a vibratory level. We're all one, really. We're all just extensions of each other.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
So I feel like that helps tremendously for us to just come from more of a heart space, which is much needed now to just break this cyclical pattern, of just feeding this toxic energy that keeps revolving on planet Earth. I really feel like it's needed for us to just wake up and become more conscious and more heart-centered.
And a big part of that too is I noticed that, and it could be because it's just people are at different levels. Obviously, everybody's at different spots in their journey.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to look to yourself, look inward, I think is so valuable. Even, it's almost like an oxymoron. You look inward to be able to look outward.
Yeah.
But but there's that, but that's what my part of the program is, to help people to listen to their own inner voice, that your higher self, that connection through your own physical voice,
Mm.
uh, because I feel like that people are looking outside of themselves so much for, we're all so desperate to know what the heck we're doing here. Why are we here? What's my purpose? Who am I really?
Yes.
So we're going, that's why I think mediumship and tarot and psychics are having their heyday now, because people are starting to wake up, but they're looking outside of themselves instead of going inward. This is where the answers are. It isn't always easy to find, but I feel like our
Mm.
voices can help us find that listening, that deeper listening. Even though the sound, the vibration, the connection, there's a connection there to our higher selves through the frequencies of our voice
Mm.
that requires a certain amount of stillness. Yeah, as you said, to
Absolutely.
hear.
Yeah, you need that stillness to just have more, not of an understanding, because once we find that stillness, it's almost like we're tapped into that inner wisdom, or the wisdom that everyone really truly has access to, since we're all connected to the same source. And I was hoping that we could talk a little bit about, just why utilizing sound is a key to tapping into your inner wisdom. I guess that's a good way to kind of lead into that, right?
It's a good segue.
Right?
Yeah, and your own inner wisdom, absolutely, that's perfect because that cultivating that conscious listening is really, I think that's key to this in a voice practice. And it's not judging. We judge, we discount, we think we're going crazy, we think other people will think we're crazy if we allow ourselves to listen, right? To
Yes.
that, and it's the voice of our intuition, isn't it? And I think what's important, what helps when you can cultivate that listening, it will help you discern that higher voice from the mind chatter. And literally, sometimes you literally hear voices too. I have heard voices a couple times that saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
My husband just heard a voice that said, "Get off the ladder. The compressor is going to blow." He was on a ladder working at a client's house, and he had a compressor, and he heard that voice twice because he didn't listen the first time. And sure enough, the compressor blew. And if
My
he
gosh, I have goosebumps. Wow.
Right? And if he had not have listened, he may have fallen off, injured, or died. And I had the same thing. A voice said, "Turn right," as I was going through an intersection. And the guy was coming down, going to barrel through, run the red light, and T-bone me. And I had just enough time to avoid
Wow.
that accident. So yes, sometimes you do hear that. I think that our guides and guardians and angels, whatever the other realms, will intercede on your behalf at times.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really hearing something, there's your thoughts, right? We all have that inner wisdom, that inner guidance. And I believe that we are spoken to all the time. In fact, I just did a video on this saying, are we channeling all the time and we don't even know it? I think we are.
We are. Yeah.
It's constant.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think channeling's this, this thing, this woo-woo thing that only certain people have access to. I believe it's something that it's our birthright. It's our connection to that wisdom. So, the way I speak into it is by telling my experience. I'm on this journey too, because even though I'm doing this work now, I have a healthy dose of skepticism. I always had. I was a bio major in college, so I love science. I love bringing the science into it too, because it's all science and magic. It's all part of it, real magic.
Right.
But a few years ago, I did an online book writing course. It was a several-day journey, and I used Google Docs to dictate because I don't like typing. Mm-hmm. And I hired a committee to help me, a channeling committee of the higher realms. Mm-hmm. And what came through were 50 pages of some really amazing stuff. It turned out to be a conversation with my committee, where I would ask a question and they would answer. Mm-hmm. And it was things that I'm not aware of. It was the way of speaking. The syntax was not the way I speak. It was about my sound therapy. It was about my voice. It was about my prior lives and how I'm going to be using this to help people. It was fascinating.
Wow.
Absolutely. It was beautiful. So some pieces of it are so profound and beautiful. And I was like, I did this.
I can definitely relate to that, Ruth. I can relate to that. Yes.
But it was me. It is me. It's just, it's in here. It's in here. It's in the library. In fact, I'll read something if I can find it. Okay, so here's a little bit of the channeling, and it has to do with that living library. Vibrational sound uses a foundation, as you say, for the opening of the matrix of the body to release its gifts of trauma and pain through the voice. Mm-hmm. Yes, the voice has an enormous aptitude for unlocking those little bits of pain and experience that we carry with us for many eons through many lifetimes. The DNA of the body is like a memory recollection, and it is all found there. You have heard the phrase living library. Yes, humans are living libraries of their experiences, including their past lives and the traumatic ones. And it was just that's you're remembering.
Right. That's so powerful. That's powerful. I really do believe that that's what it is. It's we're remembering, we're being guided, we're downloading this information that is there, it has been there, but there are moments in time where we're able, or our frequency is at a different, like we were talking about earlier, our frequency is higher, so we're easily able to tap in. And I do believe it has to be aligned as well with the planetary frequencies at that moment. So it's a lot. It takes a lot of coordination. But I do believe at any time we have this ability to tap into stillness to receive information from our guides, or even, our inner wisdom, that wealth of knowledge that's just there, that's waiting for us to just have access to at any moment of the day.
Yes.
So I think that is just one of the most powerful gifts that we could have as a human being here on this planet, to be in physical form and being able to connect with our multidimensional bodies, being able to connect with our true self, with our higher self, and merge that with physical form is very, very powerful.
Yeah, so powerful, but people are living from the neck up. That's
Yeah.
how it feels to me. And how do you hook into your wisdom? Use your body. Where do you feel it in your body?
Mm-hmm.
If don't you feel things? If something doesn't feel right, don't you get a gut feeling? Right? That's where people refer to their body about these feelings. Listen to that. That does not lie.
Mm-hmm.
Does not lie. And that combined with the sound of your voice to expand that can be invaluable. And I think people, as a voice teacher for 20 years, I know, and a singer too, sharing my voice with other people, I know how people have a lot of hangups and a lot of fear about opening their voice in singing, certainly singing music, but just making silly sounds.
We all
'Cause
have a
that's
voice. Yeah, we
right.
simply just make some sounds, and that's extremely powerful and healing. Or even just like we're doing right now, having a conversation is very healing. It does something to your body. It changes the frequency, the chemistry, the hormones, and everything within your body. Depending on what you're, so you could say some mantras, you could pay a friend a compliment, you could even just give someone a hug. And that automatically releases hormones within the body, and it helps to entrain the brain. So it helps to change your brainwave states as well, so that
Absolutely.
you have more of this euphoric feeling. Like these monks who are meditating for like what, I don't know, 19 hours a day. It just seems like that's all they really do. They train themselves to be in a natural, like theta delta state all the time. So they're constantly, or gamma, they're constantly in this brainwave state that's producing these hormones in their body. It's like feel good hormones. So they're always on this high. It's no different than my 3-year-old daughter. She's not able to tap into those lower brainwave states that we're constantly into, like the beta state, the alpha state. She doesn't know what that's like. So she's jumping off the walls 24/7. And I'm over here like, it's like, can she just calm down? But it's because her brain is just happy. She's just, living her life. She's living a dream. And for some reason, as we grow older, we start to lose that. And we go back into this, like you were talking about earlier, our ancestral patterns start to kick in. So back in the day, my ancestors would hunt for food, and we were always in survival mode. So we inherit that in our DNA, and that kicks in without us even really knowing why we're doing this. We have no reason to be like that right now. I mean, for me and most of my family and friends, we have it pretty well. We don't have to be in survival mode, 24/7.
Yeah, the brain doesn't know that, right? Yeah,
Right.
and even it's not even as far back as a ancestral thing. I talk about this in my courses where you're told as a child, even if you don't get it, you don't get somebody saying, sit down and be quiet. You get it. You get the energetic of it that you are not meant to be loud. Like if you're in the supermarket and you're screaming for a candy bar, your mother's gonna get pretty pissed off at you, right? And you're,
Right.
oops, maybe I shouldn't have done, oh, right? Or just being exuberant and loud, like your daughter. She's full of so much joy. It's the joy it can't be contained in this physicality is
And you
so
can't shut
much.
it off. Yeah, you can't
Right.
shut it off.
But that's we don't have to chant like a monk for how many hours a day, and we don't have to run around whooping and screaming like a child either to get the benefits, as you were saying, of this, because sound, it can be something as simple as you were talking about before, about hum in your car. I go outside and I ground. I love, because I'm very much always wanting to bring it back to the body. Go outside and grounding, earthing, where you walk on the ground with the bare feet. You get the ions from the earth, and then just make some very organic, just little sound. I mean, you should hear what I sound like. Thank God I don't have any neighbors close by. But I stand by trees. I touch a tree, and connect to nature. Nature is so, I mean, that's all part of who we are, right? And we
Mhm.
can go on forever with this conversation. I know there's so much, right?
Absolutely.
But just connect to nature and just, hey, hey, and see, mine starts sounding like Native
It does. I
American.
was going to say it does sound very Native American, but there was a reason why they did that.
Right.
Right.
So asking, like, just saying hi to the tree, hi, just say thank you so much, thank you. Little things like that, in your car, driving, when you're listening to music, just tone to it. Whatever.
Mhm.
Just and be conscious of those elongated vowel sounds. That's where you get the most juice, because another subject that I'm sure we don't have time to go into today is cymatics
Yes.
and the sacred geometry that sound produces.
Oh, it's so amazing.
It's
Can you imagine what that's
mind-blowing.
doing to our physical body?
Mind-blowing.
Wow. It's beautiful. The geometric shapes and patterns that are produced through sound, that's amazing. So us just producing this vibration, and the thing is, I don't feel like there's anything more powerful than your own voice, because it's coming from within and then going without.
Yes,
So
it's
it's
vibrating.
literally vibrating all of your internal organs. It's
Right.
working its way through, and then it's coming out. That's amazing. And
Vibrating.
then it's able to influence your vibratory field, so you're
Oh,
instantly
yeah.
raising your frequency, your vibration, which does
And
wonders.
other people's.
Exactly. We have a direct influence on other people's frequency as well. So I think we talked about a little bit about, because I'm looking at my notes right here, how to use your own voice for self-healing and manifestation. But I was hoping to close this out, we could talk a little bit about manifestation. What are some of your practices on using sound for manifestation?
A lot. So right now, what I'm doing is I have a beautiful instrument called a monochord,
Mhm.
and I will do chanting with that. I chant the Gayatri mantra, and
Beautiful.
that's supposed to be a beautiful mantra with in the Indian tradition, to just ask for peace and healing and wholeness. And I will do that almost every morning. I will sing it silently to myself when I'm driving the car, or generally just if somebody needs some healing, ask for prayers. If certainly when my little dog, I share with the audience that we thought we had to put our little dog down just 2 days ago, and I was praying over him with the mantra with the monochord, and yeah, he just relaxed right into that. I always give him
Aw,
sound therapy.
that's so sweet.
So yeah, the power, it's amazing. Animals respond to that so much because they're so pure, right? Yeah, there's not,
Absolutely.
yes, but I will do that. I also will sit and be quiet, and a lot of times what I'm trying to manifest, Crystal, honestly, is not so much things, or I guess it's more opportunity to be of service,
Hmm.
and more opportunity for myself to expand my connection to the divine.
Mm.
So I mean, that really comes first, because I think we all get into this doing these modalities or these practices to really heal ourselves first, I think, first and foremost, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Yep.
Yeah. So that would be my manifest, what I would want to manifest would be to wake up, to remember, to be able to connect on a much deeper level, to be able to be of service. And it's the chanting and it's the toning. I will take, honestly, let's see now. I don't even, sometimes I don't even like to do the formal vowel sounds,
Yes.
even the bijas, the lam, vam, ram, or the
Right.
sacred vowel sounds. It just feels too structured to me. So the
Hmm.
way I would do that is I would just start making organic sound, and it turns into this singing, almost like sing-songy. And if I use my bowl with it, that transports me. If you're familiar with the work of Tom Kenyon,
Yes.
right? So it's more like that. It's more
Yeah.
like that. You are also familiar with Vicky Dodd? If
I
she
think
did,
we spoke about Vicky Dodd
right?
and you sent me, yeah, some of her
Yeah,
work.
she works on people, and she does
Yes.
she listens to the person's body, and she reflects back what she
See, and
thinks the
that's
sound.
that's the thing. It's like with the vocal toning, there are these instructions, these are the vowel sounds. And I always like to say, well, this is just a nice little way to get you started for people who aren't familiar with it. But I
Correct.
really do believe it's about tapping into your own unique song or your sound. What does it feel like? What do you feel? What type of sounds do you feel like making in that moment? Because typically that's what your body needs the most, that particular vibration.
Right. And it does, you're right. It's a structure. And, of course it's a spiritual practice as well. And it has a lot of meaning, certainly has a lot of spiritual meaning. The vowel sounds are sacred, and the bijas are very sacred, and they have a lot of meaning in Sanskrit and so forth. But there's, yes, you have to do with what you feel comfortable with, and not everybody is comfortable with that particular type of structure, especially if I notice there's resistance for people who are religious.
Mhm.
They feel that it goes against, or it is an incongruence with their
Mm,
belief system.
mhm.
And for them, I say, well, then don't do it. Just make funny sounds. Even if you jump up and down and shake and blah, 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 make funny, that's going to help you. I mean, I take people through all these crazy shakings, and
I mean, it's a way to like
yeah.
release the energy. And that's the
Yes,
thing. Sometimes
yes,
they'll tell you to go out and scream as loud as you can. Just go far away so no one hears you and just like let it out because the energy needs to come out somehow. And we're so repressed nowadays. It's like it's so wrong to scream or express yourself or say what you need to say in that moment. But if you need to scream, scream. If you need to express yourself, express yourself. It needs to get out of your system because it's literally compiling like on top of each other all these emotions, and before you know it, god forbid, you could end up in the hospital because you're highly stressed, you have anxiety, you don't know how to deal with your shaking, you're
yeah,
passing out, like god knows what's going on in that moment. But I really do feel like it's important to vocalize what you're feeling. And even if it's not, screaming it out, or maybe you don't want to talk to someone, journal it out or say it out loud, talk to yourself, go somewhere where no one's around and just say what you need to say and let it go. I mean, you see it with ducks all the time. they'll it looks like they're getting into like fights or little arguments, and they'll quack quack, and they'll kind of like attack each other a little bit. And then they're okay, and then they shake it out of their feathers, they shake all the energy out,
Oh,
and then they just go off and they're perfectly fine. Dogs do it too. Out of the blue, they just start barking for no reason. It's like maybe they just need to kind of let their energy out. So I feel like as humans, we're no different. It's just a natural cycle. It's something that happens that we need to be okay with.
I love that. Oh my, I love that because I used to have little duck. We used to have ducks, Pekin ducks,
Oh,
and they're so sweet, and they used to do that.
yes, it's
You
so
know,
cute.
I love it. That was so nice. And yeah, dogs, animals, go up to a tree, tell a tree your problems, what's going on. Um, in something interesting that happened to me that was very freaky and speaks to your point is I a number of years back I was having a session with a myofascial release therapist. And
Mhm,
myofascial release is like massage, but not. They use compression instead of,
mhm,
kneading type of thing.
mhm.
And the woman was compressing my chest for quite a number of minutes, quite a long time it felt. All of a sudden, my whole body starts vibrating like crazy. And you know how your
Wow.
body will shake when
Yes.
you're in shock or that was the energy. So there was this energy that was building up and building up. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? And she's like, just go with it. Just go with it. All of a sudden, this primal yell comes out of my mouth. It was completely involuntary. I have never experienced anything like that in my life.
Wow.
Completely involuntary. And that was, I had a lot of the trauma energy. My body chose to release that trauma energy through my voice. She released it. She melted the fascia, and
Uh-huh.
it's held in the fascia,
Uh-huh.
of course, and the cells are actually trauma is held in the nucleus of our cells, they found out as well. And the voice can be that activating little key that I said that can unlock, can break that up. And it did.
Oh,
So
wow. I
oh,
think
it
that's
was.
interesting that you, not to interrupt you, that you
Oh, you're
you
fine.
shared that, because I had the same thing happen to me. Well, it wasn't exactly like, I
Yeah.
was going to see someone, um, but I was sleeping, and I was kind of like in between like a dream state and just being awake. And I don't know what happened, but out of the blue, I just felt this energy build in my body. I had no control over my body. I felt kind of like paralyzed in the moment, and like like an opera. My husband was in the bed. He's like, "What is wrong with you?"
You're singing. "Ah!"
Yes. And it just came out. And I'm like,
Great.
and I kind of laughed because, the energy felt weird, but I laughed at the same time. It's like I felt like I had no control. It just needed to come out. It's so insane. It's amazing, right? How energy works. When it needs to come out, hey, it's gonna let itself out. But luckily it came out through voice versus coming out, maybe emotionally or, physically, which, it could develop into some
Whacking
sort
your
of
husband
pain.
in the head or something
Or maybe,
accidentally.
right?
That's fascinating. It's so fascinating, really. Yeah, the stuff that I hear from people and the things I've experienced, as you say, you can't make this stuff up,
You can. And sometimes you feel like you're a little crazy. It's like, is something wrong? But it's like, but then you hear other people sharing the same stories. Like, I didn't tell a soul about this, but now Ruth is telling me. I'm like, okay, I need to say something. So it's so refreshing. It's so nice to hear you say that.
Oh no, and there's so much more. That's why, the magic, the real magic of us, of our existence. We have just touched the surface, scratched the surface, really. There's so much more that we are that I feel that's why I feel being in body, it's a gift, right?
Yes.
Even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it is a gift. And to use our bodies, use our voices to help us remember our true nature, that we are something far more amazing and glorious than we can possibly imagine.
That's beautiful. And Ruth, you wrote a book too, because the way you're speaking, it's so poetic and so, I love the way you articulate. Could you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. It's about the expressive healing and spiritual aspects and the potential of our voice to open us up. And it's called The Voice of Women's Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have felt the calling to empower the divine feminine. It was a book I wrote several years ago. I started a goddess group, and I just felt very inspired. And it's a very small book. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle or in paperback. And I have links clickable links that help to support the topics. And it's really just about opening you up to a lot of the stuff we were just talking about today, too, about how our voice is this amazing tool for transformation and for spiritual awakening, and just, gosh, just it's accessible. It's so easy. It's free. Hello, you don't need health insurance.
No batteries required.
No batteries required. Very good. And just to allow yourself to use that to just make your life a little bit easier, to to dispel, to release some of the tension, some of the stress that that all builds up. It's so easy to do that, and it's a real to use it allows you to not take yourself so seriously, to reflect back what you're doing to yourself and holding yourself back. In many areas of your life, that's what I feel too, that my work with my voice, and that's what I will say in my book too, my work with my voice has helped me to reflect back. It reflects back at me where I'm holding myself back, and where I'm holding myself small. And using my voice and always, saying, yes, I want to do that interview. Sure, I'll do that. Sure, I'll do that presentation, even though, sure, I get nervous, but I'm not letting it stop me. Don't let it stop you. And that's the thing, you allow it to help you expand. So, but yes, the book will go into a lot of those principles about cymatics, about primal voice, primal sounding. What else does my book go into? Let's see. just about the magic, all the different things that a lot of the concepts that, bioacoustics and so forth that we just spoke about, a lot of the concepts that a lot of people aren't really familiar with, to open their eyes to the power.
Well, I'm definitely going to pick up a copy of your book. And I think everyone else should too. I'm going to leave a little link. Well, I'll leave a couple links to Ruth's work below. But if you're interested, in working with Ruth, you can actually find her work and information on her website. So I'm going to spell it out for you for those of you who are listening now. It's www.ruthratliff.com. That's www.ruthratliff.com. And you can check out her work there. So Ruth, thank you for joining me today. This was an amazing conversation, so enlightening. It was fun. And I definitely have to have you come back again, because we could talk forever on this topic. It's just, there's so much information to cover, but I'm just happy that, you made time in your day to join me today to talk about sound. And I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. It was my honor, and I love your work, of course, because it dovetails with mine so beautifully. But
awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining in this week, and I look forward to co-creating a frequency-driven planet with you.
Level up your frequency.